name is Carolina Barrett, and I do have my cat with me. So if you see something moving, that is probably what it is. I'm going to be talking about wildlife conservation for my project. So wildlife refers to the practice of protecting wild species and their habitats in order to maintain healthy wildlife species populations and to restore, protect, or enhance natural ecosystems. Major threats to wildlife include habitat destruction, degradation, fragmentation, overexploitation, poaching, pollution, and climate change. Over 1 million species of animal and plant life are now threatened with dying out, more than ever before in human history, according to the International Science Policy Platform on Biodiversity and Ecosystem Services. As stated by Natalie Merchant, wildlife population sizes dropped by 68% between 1970 and 2018. It's also being acknowledged that an increasing number of ecosystems on Earth containing endangered species are disappearing. Unfortunately, over the last century, many of our wildlife species have seriously declined due to rapid and large-scale changes to their habitats and ecosystems. According to animals around the globe, a species is classified as endangered when its population has declined between 50 and 70%, and as when its population is restricted to less than 250 mature adults. Therese Johnson of the Union of Concerned Scientists claims climate change has great impact on the species' existence. Water temperatures rising, increased flooding, deforestation, fires, and storms. The first animal I will be talking about is the mountain gorilla. As stated by animals around the globe, it is in the 10 most endangered animals. For decades, mountain gorillas have been subjected to uncontrolled hunting, disease, habitat loss, and the ravages of human conflict. Their number has plummeted, and they are now considered endangered. The International Union for the Conservation of Nature, which sets the conservation status of species, changed their status from critically endangered to endangered in 2008 as their numbers improved. So some of the best places to see mountain gorillas are Rwanda in Africa, the Virunga Mountains spanning the borders of Uganda, Dominican Republic, and Rwanda's Volcanoes National Park, and are home to over 600 mountain gorillas. You can also see them in Congo, Brazzaville, the Central African Republic. World Wildlife states that mountain gorillas live in forests high in the mountains at elevations of 8,000 to 13,000 feet. They have thicker fur and more of it compared to other great apes. The fur helps them to survive in a habitat where temperatures often drop below freezing. But as humans have moved more and more into the gorillas' territory, the gorillas have been pushed farther up into the mountains for longer periods, forcing them to endure dangerous and sometimes deadly conditions. World Wildlife also details the main threats into 5 categories. Those are habitat loss. So as humans have moved into areas near mountain gorillas, they have cleared land for agriculture and livestock. In 2004, for example, illegal settlers cleared 3,700 acres of gorilla forest in the Virunga National Park. Second one is disease. Gorillas that have come into conflict with humans can be vulnerable to human diseases, which gorillas experience in more severe forms. Mountain gorillas can even die from the common cold. However, studies have found that mountain gorillas that are generally habituated with researchers and tourists have survived greater than unvisited gorillas. They benefit from the greater protection available in those areas and from regular monitoring. Increased survival is also largely due to better veterinary care of sick and injured gorillas. Another one is charcoal making. Inside gorilla habitat in the Virunga National Park, people harvest charcoal for use as a fuel source in cooking and heating. This charcoal production, which is an illegal multi-million-dollar industry, has destroyed the gorilla habitat. So a big one is poaching. In the 1960s and 1970s, gorillas were poached for sale to foreigners as trophies and captive specimens. Tragic incidents of direct poaching, either the killing of mountain gorillas or capture of infants for the live animal trade, occurred throughout the mountain gorilla range in 2002, 2004, and 2007. While the poaching of mountain gorillas for food is extremely rare, unselective hunting with snares set to catch antelopes, bush pigs, and other wildlife kills or injures mountain gorillas. Civil unrest is another big thing. The Rwandan genocide in 1994 was followed by years of civil war in the DRC. Refugees from both conflicts have come to the area near the mountain gorilla park networks, and the parks have been battlegrounds and shelter for militias. According to the International Gorilla Conservation Program, this program is a part to a legacy of collaborative and inclusive conservation, contributing to the protection of Rwanda, Uganda, and the DRC and the gorillas who are reliant. IGCP has been very helpful and has put great effort into their protection over the decades, innovating and adapting its approach to effectively support the conservation of mountain gorillas. The collaboration across the three countries has enhanced social and political support for conservation. It has enhanced tourism revenue sharing among park adjacent communities and improved effectiveness in the management of mountain gorilla parks. In 2018, American Wildlife Foundation purchased land directly next to Volcanoes National Park and donated it to the Rwandan government to expand great ape habitat. During the past 7 years, this great apes population has shown an increase of 26.3%. This expansion is the beginning of providing adequate habitat for the world's most endangered ape. AWF also works with locals to help both great apes and communities. Through partnerships with private operators and communities, they have designed and constructed tourism lodges, benefiting the apes of Rwanda and Uganda and their respective communities. Community-owned tourism lodges are lodges that benefit the local people who share their backyard with great apes by generating income through tourism. According to the African Wildlife Foundation, in 2016, Volcanoes National Park generated $16.4 million from park entry fees. It's efforts like these that will continue to help develop livelihood strategies that can complement conservation. In light of their extreme past, conservation efforts have grown successfully in the recent years. Despite ongoing civil conflict, poaching, and enroaching human population, both populations of mountain gorillas have increased in numbers. According to World Wildlife, findings show populations in the Virunga Massif have grown to 604 individuals, up from 480 individuals from 2010. This puts the total global gorilla population over 1,000 individuals. So the second animal I'll be talking about is Irrawaddy dolphin. According to Animals Around the Globe, the Irrawaddy dolphin is a Urhelen species of oceanic dolphin, meaning they transition between saltwater and freshwater. Also reported by the Animals Around the Globe, the Mekong River Irrawaddy dolphins inhabit a 1 to 18-mile stretch of the river between Cambodia and Laos, PDR, and are scarce. The dolphins are an important indicator of health and sound management of their freshwater resources, and their extinction could potentially have devastating decline in the health of the entire ecosystem. Dolphins continue to die off at an alarming rate, and experts now estimate that there are only around 80 Irrawaddy dolphins left in the Mekong between Cratie and the Laos border. The best place to see them are at Kampi, about 15 kilometers north of Cratie, and on the road to Sambor, Southeast Asia. According to Endangered Species International, they are at risk of extinction throughout its range as a result of incidental catches and injuries, habitat degradation and destruction, and pollution. Wild populations are constrained by the species' narrow habitat requirements, lagoons, estuaries, rivers, and lakes, and are therefore particularly vulnerable to effects of human activities. Water pollution poses a significant risk for the Irrawaddy dolphin since it occupies aquatic habitats that are heavily contaminated with higher concentration of pesticides. It's exposed to chemicals and sewage released from adjacent terrestrial activities. Noise and disturbance associated with construction, vessel traffic, and military activities are features of everyday life for the species. Since the Irrawaddy dolphin main source of food is fish and crustaceans, their food supply is easily threatened due to overfishing, the blocking of streams, and the introduction of modern fishing implements. Therefore, maintaining healthy fish population and diversity is important to the Irrawaddy dolphin survival. Each year, stated by the Endangered Species International, they train 1,000 fishermen are monitoring and protecting the endangered Iridae dolphin in Southeast Asia to avoid deadly bycatch. They also directly promote sustainable fishing practice in no fishing zones in areas where dolphins are still found. Further, ESI focuses on restoring and protecting natural habitats like estuaries and rivers where dolphins occur. Finally, they also work very closely with local communities and authorities to control and reduce water pollution. World Wildlife explains that in a significant step forward for nature and communities that depend on the Mekong River, the Cambodian government has abandoned plans to build the Sambor hydropower dam and has put a 10-year moratorium on any dams on the Mekong mainstream. The construction of the Sambor Dam would have threatened the world's most productive freshwater fishery, which feeds millions of people, and would have blocked the movement of vital sediment, speeding up the sinking and shrinking of the Mekong Delta, which is good for the dolphins whose highest population is in that area. Also in 2012, the Cambodian government declared the entire stretch of the river a protected zone, with fishing prohibited at all times in core dolphin habitat. Today, the rules are enforced by a contingent of 32 river guards, and officials say overall dolphin mortality has gone down significantly. According to Stefan Lovgren of National Geographic in 2018, came some good news. A new survey found 92 dolphins in the Mekong River, the highest number in more than 20 years. Researchers identified 9 newborn calves, and last year, 3 more have already been found. So the last one is the Javan rhinoceroses. According to Animals Around the Globe, only 67 Javan rhinos are currently estimated to remain in the world, making this critically endangered rhino species one of the most threatened large mammal species on Earth. Today, a small population of Javan rhinos is found in only one national park on the northern part of the Indonesian island of Java, which is a mainland subspecies of the Javan rhino and was declared extinct in Vietnam in 2011. Edge of existence claims as with all 5 existing species of rhino, the largest threat they face is poaching to fuel the international rhino horn trade. This combined with degraded and lost habitat has left the Javan rhino critically endangered with less than 100 individuals left in the wild. Edge of existence also states that rhinos, along with equids and tapirs, are the only surviving members of an ancient and formerly diverse group of ungulates, which originated around 15 million years ago. Although these populations are now protected in national parks, they remain at risk from poaching, and the small population sizes mean that they are extremely vulnerable to disease and natural disasters. Global Wildlife Conservation has a plan to increase the population to at least 80 individuals in at least 2 sites by 2025. To do so, they are partnering with WWF Indonesian, the International Rhino Foundation, and the Indonesian Rhino Foundation, which are 3 organizations with vast Javan rhino conservation experience and close working relationships with the Ujung Kulon Management Board and local communities. In addition, Wildlife Protection Solutions recently joined the team to increase efficiencies through technological solutions. Their solutions include, reported by Global Wildlife Conservation, are population monitoring, so enhancing the existing monitoring system to provide near real-time data transfer and analysis of individual rhinos on a timely basis. Poaching prevention, maintain and enhance current patrolling system and updated equipment and transportation. Providing connectivity across the park to facilitate radio communications and data transfer to permit near real-time management of protection efforts. Improving living and working conditions of rangers. Disease reduction, prevent livestock disease via vaccinations and establish in a community-based livestock management program. Habitat improvement, scale up the control of Orango palm, a native palm that shades out ground vegetation and reduces the amount of food available to Java rhinos. Encourage understory recovery through the planting of rhino browse plants and from community nurseries, from community nurseries.